I stay out of the woods because that's where devil-worshipping death cults like to hang out. But possessive, sex-obsessed cult leaders are not the only thing you need to fear within the forest. There's also Bigfoot, and his son, Smallfoot, and Yogi Bear. You should watch out for him. He'll steal your picnic basket, and also your children. Yogi Bear will kill and eat your children. But that's enough about Yogi for now. Here are 10 mysterious forest discoveries. There are two types of people who live in a cabin in the woods. Crazy people like Ted Kaczynski and serial killers like the Unabomber. So if I made this next discovery, I would be terrified. California's Arcata Forest is open to the public, but no one is allowed to live there. However, a few years ago, a small cabin was found within the woods, hidden in plain sight. This image, taken just 100 feet away, shows how well hidden the cabin is. Rangers broke into the 15-foot tall cabin to find a tiny home. Canned food, books on survival skills, and an old typewriter were seen inside. It seemed like someone had been living there for several years, but no sign of that person was found. A while later, authorities returned to the area only to find the cabin had gone. It simply wasn't there anymore, and in its place a symbol associated with squatting. 5 years ago, the historian Louis Cerner was staying in a hotel. In the lobby, he noticed an old stone pillar with strange symbols along it. After asking several idiots who knew nothing about it, he got in contact with the hotel's founder. It turns out that a friend of his discovered the pillar deep within a forest. After some more digging, the historian learned that another stone pillar was once discovered within the forest. That's all he was able to find out for sure, although he did hear numerous rumors about the pillars. One that they were built by Spanish explorers and used to navigate wooded areas. Another rumor is that they are somehow connected with Freemasonry, given the Templar cross carved onto them. This strange little pagan altar thing was found under a tree in the middle of a dense forest. That alone is kind of weird, but like I said, death cults love to spend time in the woods. On the altar thing is a wooden box in the shape of a book. Inside it is a switch. Flip the switch and nothing happens, or at least nothing appears to happen. Who knows what the story behind it is? Walk through a certain forest in New York and you might stumble upon what looks like the entrance of a medieval town. What you would be looking at is an abandoned castle. It was built in the early 20th century by a man wanting the grandest home in town, but he soon died and the castle was never actually lived in. Dundas Castle is notoriously hard to find and plagued by tragic ghost tales. If you do manage to find it, be careful, as the original owner's wife is said to walk its halls and towers, decades after her death. With this legend and its appearance, the castle feels like something from a fairy tale, especially given rumors that locals mislead people looking for the castle in their efforts to keep it hidden. Two friends were recently exploring a forest in northern Germany. Being Nazi and then Soviet territory, the area has all kinds of mysterious places hidden away. With their attention drawn to some pipes sticking out of the ground, they wanted to know where they led. They found a large concrete entrance, but were able to break through the wooden hatch covering it. Inside, they found hallways that seemed to go on forever. The passages led in many different directions, with some dead ends and countless rooms. It would have been easy to get lost in this haunting bunker. The deeper they got into the bunker, the worse condition it appeared to be in, as if some kind of terrible experiment had taken place there. There were heavy vault doors broken off their hinges. The deepest levels of the bunker are flooded, which doesn't make the place any more inviting. The Osunosogbo Sacred Grove is an ancient forest associated with magic. Some locals believe the forest is occupied by the ghosts of their ancestors. One thing we know for sure is that mysterious figures created by said ancestors can be seen inside. They depict strange creatures of all shapes and sizes. These strange alien-looking figures are of unknown origin. Some believe they were gods worshipped by locals. Others believe they were built to scare people away from the sacred grove. One legend tells that they were once living monsters who preyed on humans who entered the forest, but were transformed into statues by shaman. Some even believe they depict aliens who came to Africa long ago and were worshipped as gods. David McPherson was a woodsman. In 1962, he was deep in a Canadian forest when he found something incredible. It was a large white box hanging from a tree with a parachute, as if it had fallen from an aircraft. Hauling the box out of the forest by use of a bulldozer, the military soon took ownership. Locals began speculating what the box contained and why it was just hanging in the woods. It came to be known as the Thing in the Woods. For 5 decades, the woodsman's family tried to find answers, but for 55 years no answers came. However, answers finally came last year. It was revealed as a CIA surveillance camera within a protective box. The box was carried by a balloon high into the atmosphere and used to spy on the Soviet Union. Strong winds likely caused the balloon to crash in Canada, and so the Thing in the Woods was discovered. Pokaini Forest is in Latvia, and like everything in Latvia, science can't explain it. Many legends surround the forest, one claiming it grew on the site of an asteroid impact, another that it was used as a pagan place of worship for centuries. There are 30 mounds of stones within the forest that locals are known to fear. They say a strange energy emits from the mounds, and that anyone who removes a stone will die. In the 90s, a local researcher began examining the area, but he soon died of an unknown condition. The stones do feel warm to touch, but there is no obvious explanation. The controversial futurist Dr. James Hurtak claims NASA studied the area with satellites in the 1970s. He says they detected some kind of radiation emerging from the forest and assumed a Soviet base was there. They say the stones were left in the forest by travelling druids long ago, and that the stones protect the forest, but also that examining the stones can be deadly. 2 years ago, airplane passengers heading over a thick Irish forest discovered something interesting. A 100-meter cross made with trees of a different species which was previously unknown to exist. National news soon caught on and started asking the obvious question: how did this happen? A massive forest cross can't just pop into existence, it would take years. So how could it have been unknown to exist? Some people have an interesting tactic to avoid their spouse. They take a metal detector into the countryside and pretend to be interested in history. You could say they dig history. And there you have it, the worst joke of 2018. Presumably while avoiding his wife, one man found a medieval relic inside a forest. It was a small metal figure of a wild man. Wild men are mythical human-like creatures. They were widely depicted and believed in during medieval times. Children were told not to wander the forests alone for fear of wild men, primitive and violent beings much stronger than us. There are medieval accounts of groups going into the woods to hunt wild men, and stories of people encountering them. So that's weird. So I have a new channel. It's called Buzzard Post and I have 2 videos uploaded already. The first of 2 video series for the channel. One video is about how the Rothschild family built their fortune. Next in that series will be about the Rockefellers. The other video is about the fall of Bernie Madoff. You'll find a pinned comment with a link to the channel and one in the description here. So feel free to subscribe to it. I'd appreciate that. I think you will like the upcoming content. That's pretty much all I wanted to say here. Bye.